Hi friends, today we will see what is chiller and what is its working principle. Today we will see water cooled chiller. What is working principle? It is work on the principle of compression and phase changes of refrigerant from a liquid to a gas and back to the liquid phase. Actually, there is a chemical compound which is called refrigerant which is present in the chiller, and by changing of their phases from gaseous to liquid form, it work on their chilling process. What happen in water cooler chiller? We use the water for exchanging the cooling from atmosphere temperature to change the refrigerant phases from high temperature to low temperature and gaseous form to liquid form. We'll see the process, then you will understand. Basically, there are two type of chiller. There are multiple types of chiller, but main type of chiller are air cooled chiller and water cooled chiller. So by photographs you can understand. In air type chiller, air cooled chiller, there are exhaust fan is shown at the top of the chiller, whereas in water cooled chiller it is connected to the cooling tower. We'll see in the next. The basic principle of this both the chiller is same and the components are also same. These are the typical diagram of a chilled water system, how it works and what are the basic component present in their system. So we can see there are condenser, compressor, motor, VFD, evaporator, expansion valve, refrigerant and cooling tower, and primary supply and primary return. So we'll see in detail, you will understand. This is shown as a air cooled chiller system, where there is a air cooled chiller and condenser is available, which is taking a air temperature out 42 degree and 32 degree air in. Rest all the things are same. So by photograph we can see there are evaporator, compressor and condensers. So there are basically four main component of the chiller: evaporator, compressor, condenser and expansion valve. As the name explain, evaporator, here the refrigerant is changing their phase from liquid to gaseous form. Evaporation happen in this phase. So evaporator is doing the phase changes from liquid to gaseous form, and compressor is taking the refrigerant and pushing this refrigerant to the condenser, and in condenser the heated refrigerant incoming, which is coming into contact with the cooling tower water, and it is taking the coldness of water and converting this heated refrigerant to liquid form. So here also the phases is changes of refrigerant from gas to liquid form. Then it is going to the expansion valve. Expansion valve is connected with thermal valve, which is passing the cold refrigerant from high pressure to low pressure and low temperature, and it is going to the evaporator, and this cycle is running. We'll see one by one, you will understand. This is compressor. As I informed, there are used to flow refrigerant from chiller to, and there are basically four kind of compressor: centrifugal compressor, screw compressor, scroll compressor, reciprocating compressor. Condenser. Condenser is reducing refrigerant temperature. Water is used in water cooled chiller, whereas air is used in air cooled chiller. Expansion valve used to reduce refrigerant pressure and temperature by expanding it. Type of expansion valve, there are basically four kind of expansion valve: thermal expansion valve, pilot operated thermal expansion valve, electronic expansion valve, fixed orified expansion valve. Used to reduce, there is other different component is evaporator, used to reduce chiller AHU water temperature by refrigerant. So this is the basic configuration of chiller, compressor, evaporator and condenser. You can see here. Now the refrigerant goes from evaporator to the condenser, compressor, and compressor is taking this heated refrigerant from compressor to condenser, and here in condenser the cold air from cooling tower is come into contact with refrigerant, and the heated refrigerant is converted to liquid form, and then again it is going to the expansion valve. Expansion valve is connected to thermal valve, and thermal valve is giving the required quantity of refrigerant to go into the compressor. So here we see the refrigerant enter from compressor is coming with a heated temperature, and its temperature is high. It is coming into the contact with the water coming from cooling tower. Its temperature is generally 30 to 32 degree, as our ambient temperature in India is 30 to 32 degree in normal condition. So this is a cold water, and it is come into contact with refrigerant which is heated. With when coming in the contact with this cold water in this refrigerant pipes, this refrigerant this chilled water pipe, this refrigerant is converting from gaseous to liquid form, and this water is becoming cool to higher temperature. Means when it is coming into the condenser, the temperature of water is 30 to 32 degree, whereas when it is coming out, its temperature become 38 to 40 degree by taking the temperature of refrigerant. So the temperature is getting increase of water 38 to 40 degree, and again it is going to the cooling tower, and by taking the ambient temperature of ambient, this water is coming again 30 to 32 degree and coming into the condenser to the system. So this is the same configuration refrigerant charging from vapor to liquid. You can see the initial stage of refrigerant was gaseous form, which is converted to liquid form. This is also the same thing. So the compressor sent the vapor refrigerant to the condenser, as I told. With the help of water from the cooling tower, the hot refrigerant is cooled and converted from vapor state to liquid state. The hot water is sent to the cooling tower again and cooled again with the help of ambient temperature. This expansion valve is connected to the thermal valve, and the required quantity of refrigerant is sending through this thermal valve, expansion valve, by reducing the temperature and pressure of the refrigerant. So when the refrigerant is coming from condenser, it is coming with high pressure refrigerant, which is converted to the low pressure, low temperature refrigerant with the help of expansion valve. When this is coming to the evaporator, the low temperature and low pressure refrigerant is coming inside the evaporator. Here in evaporator, it is connected to the AHU chilled water pipe. So the AHU is running in the data hall or building area where the load is there. From that area, this water is taking all the load, and the water is getting heated and coming to the evaporator. So when the water is coming to the evaporator, the temperature of evaporator is approximately 12 degree, and by taking this 12 degree and coming to the contact of refrigerant, which is low pressure, low temperature in this evaporator, the temperature of chilled water is getting down, and it is coming out with 6 degree, and water leaving to the AHU is around 6 degree. Here you can see. So when it is going to the data hall or load area where the AHU or exhaust fan or AHUs are installed, there the temperature is getting 6 degree of water, and by taking the load it is coming back to the evaporator and the temperature of water is approximately 12 degree. Here is also the same, evaporator, refrigerant going condenser through compressor. Now with the contact of this heated water, the evaporator of low temperature, low pressure is getting high. So the phase of evaporator, phase of refrigerant is converting from liquid to gaseous form, and it is going to the compressor. The water coming from the AHU is deheated with the help of cold refrigerant, and the water is pumped back to the AHU. The hot refrigerant is vaporized and sent to the condenser through the compressor. This is the whole cycle. You can see evaporator where the refrigerant is converting liquid to gaseous form. Compressor is compressing the refrigerant and sending it to the condenser, and here condenser is coming in a liquid gaseous form, and this gaseous form is come into contact with cooling tower water which is cooled, and the form of refrigerant from gaseous converted to the liquid form, and the hot water is coming out from the condenser and going to the cooling tower, and this liquid form of refrigerant is going out from the condenser and going to the expansion valve. Expansion valve is reducing the temperature and pressure of the refrigerant and sending it to the evaporator, and the quantity of refrigerant to be sent to the evaporator is depending upon the thermal ball which is controlling the quantity of the refrigerant, and this cycle is going on. Thanks. Hope you will like the video, and before going to any interview for MEP or data center, you can refer this video and you can learn this, and this is important thing which is generally used asked in many interviews.